Welcome to DB Tutorials. Today we are going to look at file systems for DB2 on UNIX and Linux systems. Introduction. DB2 doesn't have any defaults for file systems because that is no S-level thing. However, there are a few sanity checks and some recommended separation when installing DB2 on Linux and UNIX operating systems. These are my best practices for installations, in general terms. Software location. The default location for installing the DB2 code in /opt/ibm/db2/v10.5, replacing v10.5 with whatever version. The default location works fine, though I would recommend that /opt is mounted as its own file system and not just part of root. There are reasons to put the code in other places, but I won't unless you have a technical reason to do so. Don't create instances in / or in /home. After software installation, the next location that DB2 uses is the home directory of the instance owner. Before creating the DB2 instance, either using DB2 setup or using DB2 ICT, you need to verify the primary group and the home directory of the DB2 instance owner. Do not place the home directory of the DB2 instance owner on / or /home. The reasoning for this is because those locations may quite easily be filled up by other users on the server, and if the instance home fills up, DB2 becomes unusable. We don't want a random user transferring a giant file and crashing the database. Other recommended file systems. For a minimal usage system, I can live with only 2 file systems as described above /opt and some file system for the home directory of the DB2 instance owner. But if I am setting up a production system to the best reasonable design, I also include separate file systems for at least the following. Active transaction logs. Active transaction logs are critical to database performance and also to database functioning. Active logs should be on the fastest storage you have, and you should train operations and other people who might touch your database server to never touch the active transaction log files. I have seen a production database crashed by a more junior operations person compressing an active transaction log. To direct active log files to a new path, you'll have to set the database configuration parameter nuller path and deactivate/activate your database for the change to take effect. Archive transaction logs. If you have TSM or another location for archiving transaction logs, that is best and safest. If you are archiving to disk, these must be in a different directory from active transaction logs, and preferably in a separate file system. The logic for a separate file system is that this gives you an extra layer of protection if you're remonitoring for full file systems. You will catch a logging issue when it fills up your archive log file system, and hopefully have time to address it before it also fills your active log file system and makes your database unavailable. To archive transaction log files to a path, you have to set the logarchmeth1 dbcfg parameter to disk/path. If you're resetting logarchmeth1 for the first time, you may also be changing from circular logging to archive logging, which requires an offline database backup, so be cautious.